Hello, 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 everybody. Hi, welcome to Old Style Classics Baseball Cards, July 23rd, 2024, 10:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Welcome to Old Style Classics Baseball Cards and other cards and collectibles and stuff like that. And, just hang in there, folks. We'll get to my Super Saurus here in a second. Quick shout out. 152 subscribers, so please like, subscribe, share this with other people, send them my way. That'd be nice. Once again, Diver Dave, thanks for commenting. New subscriber Jason Fortier and Vicious the Pot had commented recently, and Stereo Handled had subscribed. So hey, thank you all for joining Old Style Classics Baseball Cards. Still waiting to hear from Roy, who won my contest. Haven't heard back from him, but Old Style Classics Baseball Cards, and here it is, folks. It's been a Super Saurus for me going through all these oddball cards, and I couldn't find my oldest ones earlier when I wanted to do that episode, but that's okay because I just did my Japanese oddball cards. And basically, aside from what I'm getting in the mail sometime this week, and maybe some random ones that are here and there, I finally reached the end, people. I finally reached the end of my oddball run of cards. So now it's time to get to the original oddball cards, which is what baseball cards and trading cards originally were. They weren't like these Topps Allen Ginters. So even I can't get a Super Saurus about that. But I love mini cards and I love oddball cards. And so what we have, folks, is basically all my pre-war stuff. But before I get to complete pre-war, I do want to go back in time, and we will. I said, since I just got this in the mail today from eBay, another Wheaties card. So I'll just show you some of the Wheaties really quick again. So I believe this is like 96 Wheaties, one of those mini boxes, and with King Griffey Jr. on it. It's a beautiful box, pristine condition here. And that's my General Mills stuff. So we've done Roston Purina, Post, Kellogg's, cereal series, you name it, we've shown it. And then to go along with that, pick this up today, eBay. This is a 97 Wheaties, Frank Thomas, back of the box. So like if you had a Wheaties box, this would have been on the back and you would have cut it out. So that is my latest pickup, Frank Thomas, the big hunk, the big hurt. And oh, really quick, while I'm showing this, I showed the Japanese baseball cards that I got, the Calbies and the baseball magazine from Japan, the ones, the non-1990 cards. The guy from my wife's work picked up for me when he was in Japan. His name is Bradford, and because she didn't show up till later, actually I met her downstairs. We had to go get gas, and then we went and ate, and I was like, oh, I forgot that guy's name, and she goes, oh, it was Bradford, and I think he subscribed to you. So hey, Bradford, thank you so much for those Japanese cards. I really do appreciate it. It's super cool, and just luck has it that you got the kind of cards I like, which is oddball cards. Alright, so like this here, Frank Thomas, with my magic wand here, abracadabra, Albuquerque, Turkey, Walla Walla, Washington, Boop. There's a Frank Thomas card too, and that's from Upper Deck. All right, moving right along. Then this is the 1952 or 53 Bob Lemon. Same thing. Back in the 50s, you would have cut this off the back of the box, just like you would have cut these, except this has a little line on it. And that's Hall of Famer Bob Lemon. That's just post-war. So, but still, Wheaties does have some 1930s full-size, like cabinet cards. It's basically the back of the Wheaties box, but like the full-size, almost the entire back of the Wheaties box. It's like giant cards. Haven't got one of those yet. This one's blank back. So there's, just wanted to show those Wheaties ones with it. So here it is, people, the original baseball cards, not counting like really small stuff, you know, like some of the business cards, a business trade card, or postcards from before 1886-87. 1886, I guess Goodwin put out some cards, but they were very limited and regional, not widely distributed. And then in 1887, Allen Ginters and Goodwin put out the first real sets of baseball cards and other cards. Allen Ginters did the world champion, so it's not just baseball. 10 baseball cards, and a bunch of other people like Annie Oakley and Buffalo Bill, and wrestlers and boxers and pool players and all that kind of stuff. And then Goodwin did some baseball cards. So mass distributed cards started in 1887. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about like Cincinnati Reds professional thing that some local dry cleaner did or something like that. Although those are great, and those are very, very rare and very expensive cards. Most people aren't going to see any of those kind of things. So my favorite thing, like the Super Soros that I just showed you, is Allen Ginters. I love Topps Allen Ginters because I've always loved original Allen Ginters. So I had to pick me up one this last year, and what I could afford was the W.M. Muldoon. And he is a wrestler, but not a professional wrestler. He was more like a Olympic style wrestler, Greco-Roman, I guess you would call it. But so that is from the first set of Allen Ginters, 1887. So these are widely, this and Goodwin, and I think more so Allen Ginters, but Orlando, the collector's dream, can correct me if I'm wrong, are the first widely distributed cards, because Allen Ginters was kind of like the Marlboro or Camel of the day. And so these cards were put in there as stiffeners, like most of these rest of these cards that I'm going to be showing you are, but they're oddball. So these were put in packs of cigarettes to stiffen the pack and protect the cigarette, and to try to get you to buy their product. And then kids went crazy over these things, bugging guys who were smoking to give them their cards and stuff like that. They even had a name for them, but I can't remember. But that's 1887, first set of Allen Ginters. And not too bad. It's a little round, you know, rounded corners, a little paper loss there. And there's the baseball players, 10 checklist. Oarsmen, wrestlers, which Muldoon's right in here, right there. Whoop. And so obviously I would love to get any of the baseball players, but those are super expensive. And if I was going to get one and I could just cost not being a issue, then the Cap Hansen, of course. And then you've got these other people here, and like the shooters, there you go. That's the other card I really want, which is Miss Annie Oakley. So thing about the Allen Ginters, as opposed to a modern Allen Ginter. You know, they're about the same size, but the difference is so this Hank Aaron here, you know, that thinness here, the original Allen Ginters are twice as thick as this at least, and so they don't fit into like a one-touch tobacco one-touch, so you have to get like a tobacco sleeve, penny sleeve, and put it in a regular one-touch. So there's my WM Muldoon. So 1887 Allen Ginter. What is that, N47 or N37? But I'm not going to be talking about that stuff so much. And then this is the next year, 1888. So I just picked two of these up recently. And that is red shirt. So, you know, once again, Allen Ginter is not a baseball card set. It is a trading card set of the world champions and people of importance and interest or stuff like that, pretty ladies and all that kind of stuff, and tobacco Anna as well. So that there is their what's that say? Well, it's got paper loss, so it's hard to see, but it's their Indian, like Chiefs or something like that, American Indian cards there. So you can see cigarettes there, and Allen Ginter down there. So that's a recent pickup, about a couple month and a half ago or 2 months ago. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me, folks. All right, so red shirt, Dakota Sioux. Please turn your speed up to like at least 1.25 or 1.5 if you want me to sound normal. I did that Japanese card video earlier, and I'm losing my voice a little bit. But just love these. All right. Then same year, 1888, Allen Ginter put up another one of their sets or series was Smokers, World Smokers. So this is Spaniard. So had a few to choose from. I chose the Spaniard because I like Spain and my wife's Hispanic, and so that's cool. And now with Diver Dave, my wife said thanks for saying hi again, and she says hi back. And so that's got a much better back, but it's very patinaed. But it shows you all the different smokers you can get. And one of the smokers in here, I don't know if it's the American or one of them, is the little dude that looks kind of like the Quaker guy smoking a pipe, which is the back of the original Topps Allen Ginter backs. So that's super cool. And once again, these cards are very, very thick stock to help protect those cigarettes. So just wonderful cards, wonderful artwork. I think that's lithography. All right, then we're going to go into 1890s. These are some cigarette cards that are from Duke Cigarettes. And these are the American Terrors. Now they did the first set, and then they did like a repeat set a couple years later. These ones I got out of that frame thing that I picked up at an antique shop, and I haven't been able to deal with the tape yet, but nevertheless packed in Duke Cigarettes, Knapp and Company, Lithograph, New York. So the Terrors of America, I think, and their doings or something like that. So these are based on little kids, little boys in particular, little terrors, running around doing what boys do, making a lot of noise and busting windows and doing all kinds of things kids do. So these, there's a couple in here that are baseball themed, like this one. So obviously he's losing his suspenders while playing. We're going to rush through these a little bit. Then there's a copy of that. Now this one is 1895. So that is that repeat set that they just rehash these again 5 years later, and but that's got a good back. So you can see the set list there, and I got like 15 or some of, we'll see. Now here's a little boy playing catcher, so even called the catcher. So I hope that's showing up for you folks. There's a baseball theme one. It's got a little scotch tape on there. I gotta find a way to get that off without damaging the card. And then this guy's the catch, so don't drop it. Oh, out in left field, don't drop it, Tommy. So backs are all the same, so I'm just gonna kind of skip the backs probably. And this one is football, but oh my shin, but it's actually a baseball card because they're playing baseball and he got hit with the ball, so it hit him in the shin and the foot. So, and then my favorite one is this one. This little kid popped the big kid, punched him in the arm because he's a little tough guy, and he's like telling him to go punch a fella your own size. That's epic. That's cool. This kid got in trouble for launching a spitball or something with like a rubber band or something at the teacher, and then of course he got whacked with that ruler. But it was probably worth it to him. Probably a hero at recess. And then this little stinker put a brick under a hat, and so when this guy comes along patrolling the streets, you see that hat in his way, he's gonna kick it and he's gonna bust up his feet because he kicked that brick, and this kid's gonna get a good laugh out of that and take off running, kind of like playing ding dong ditch. And this kid is jumped on his back when he was skitching behind that carriage there, and so he's like, get off me. These kids sliding down the hill on the ice. This kid on election night, which we've got coming up pretty soon, election night, and everything's just crazy right now, folks. Just insane. All the stuff that's going on. Every day is something new. And he's jumping over the fire. So I guess he must have been elected to jump the fire. Maybe that's what that means. Pause you and take a drink. Alright, thank you. Then this guy's doing the spread eagle. Some kind of skating move there. Old school skates. You just strapped on your shoes. This is pretty cool. These are neat cards. And the kid running off from skinny dipping. The cops don't want him skinny dipping or swimming or no swimming allowed or something. So he's running off with his clothes before the cop gets a hold of him. And this guy not very good at hide and seek. He's obviously hiding behind too small a tree. This kid's fishing, it looks like, telling tall tales about the one that got away. Little Tom Sawyer there, or a Huck Finn. Leapfrog. Come down easy, fellers. Don't land on my head. This is super cool. Great art. So that's it for those ones. Now we're going to get into like 1908. These are from England. Ogden cigarettes. Peter Mangum. He's a professional wrestler, so you can read about him. They're pugilists and wrestlers. So these are same era as the T206s, and just in much better shape than T206s, because I guess the English didn't really glue their stuff into binders and stuff like that. Scrapbooks, but very Allen Ginter-esque all those years later. 1887 to 1908. That seems like 13 plus 8. 21 years, something like that. And then I believe this is also 1908. Joe Rogers. Same thing, another wrestler. And it's funny, it talks about their wrestling career up to then and some of the problems they were, like some of their losses and stuff like that. So a series of 50, branch of the Imperial Tobacco Company of Great Britain and Ireland. And by this point in time, Goodwin and Allen Ginters had come together, created a tobacco monopoly, and that's where the American Tobacco Company comes in, coming up after this. So this is Jack Twin Sullivan, so this is 1909 or 1910 Ogden cigarettes, so a little bit later. And he is a famous boxer from back then. Another one of the Sullivan boxers. So anyways, if you're wondering what happened to Goodwin, Gypsy Queen, all that, Allen Ginter, they joined forces and created the American Tobacco Company. And that's where T206 and Obak and Hassan, all those cards come from. And so here was my first T206 that I picked up at the San Jose Silicon Valley card show about 9 or 10 months ago now. And that is Doc Atkins from Baltimore, when Baltimore was still a minor league team, but that was still part of the T206 set. And I hear there's some rarity to this card, not super rare, but just like maybe the orange or him, or Baltimore cards in general, because they were usually snatched up because their Orioles were really popular in Baltimore. So, but I don't know anything about all that. It's just rough shape. This would go right in with Robert's Common Collector Trashy Cards. And why would I get rid of that? That's beautiful. That's my first T206 Piedmont back. I believe this is 1910. One of the 1910 versions, because it's got the 350 subjects thing on there. And this is factory number 25 in Virginia. So obviously that was glued into a book. So there you go, Doc Atkins. That's super cool. So now it's going to jump around just a little bit, people, because we're going to go from the T206 to the T205, which, if you don't already know, T206 was earlier than T205. It's just the way the original guy cataloged them. So this is T205, so this would be like 1911 or 12, because the T206 went up to 1911, so maybe they started doing these later there. I don't know. But nevertheless, there's my cubbies. This is a recent pickup with those Obak cards. And that's the first T205 I ever got. Of course, if I can get one, it's going to be my cubbies with the little cub bear there. And I used to have a hat just like that. Josh Sheckard. James Sheckard. And that's from Hassan. Cork tip cigarettes. That's just a beautiful card, people. Beat up, but just beautiful. Alright, now this one looks so much older than a lot of these cards, but this also came out in like 1910, and our first non-tobacco since the Wheaties ones. And this is a Colgans Chip, and I always love these Colgan chips. And that's Birch from the Brooklyn team, 1910. Now I'd love to get the Ty Cobb, but I'll take anything, and that's just beautiful. And these things are super thin, people. Now, not as thin as the newspaper quality of cards, but not a whole lot thicker. These were put in those little tins of gum. The gum were little discs, round gum. So Stars of the Diamond, Violet Chips, and Mint Chips. And of course, just like Mangini and Rick, I would like to get me a tin, because I like collecting the stuff that these came in, or would like to. Okay, folks, so this is the second year or first year? Let me look. I believe this is the first year. So my first Obak, because I was always fascinated with Obak, especially after TriStar did Obaks in 2009, 10, and 11s. Obak came out 1909, 19, 10, and 11. So TriStar did kind of a tribute for 3 years to Obak, 100 years to the day, or 100 years to the year, I should say. And these were the PCL and Northwest leagues for the West Coast. And the PCL and all that were almost as big as Major League Baseball. They were just considered like a level down, not like AAA like we have now, more like what you would think of the Japanese league is to America, Major League. It's up there, it's just not as high, or at least people don't treat it as high. But that was my first Obak. So that's a beautiful card. Just wonderful. 1909 T212. So you'll see a different back. So this is the first year. Then the second year. That's just a beautiful card. That San Francisco one of Moeller PCL. So the second year had the block design on the Obak. I've showed these before if you want to go and watch the videos. I've showed these multiple times if you want to hear more stories and stuff about these individual cards, more detail. Please go back and check them out. I'm just kind of doing a recap episode because it's part of my Oddball run daily for Los Angeles PCL. And so that's 1910. Browning, San Francisco, 1910. And then these are the ones I showed for trashy cards for Commenting Collector. And there's a pretty trashy one. Barry with San Francisco. Love that hat. Old school pinstripes there. Then Briggs for Sacramento. Love that uniform. 1910. And it says baseball series, 175 subjects selected from Pacific Coast and Northwest leagues. Factory numbers it's either 17 or 171, First District, California. So somewhere up around here. So cards do have a long history in California. You got these Obaks, I think Xena, and then ultimately Mother's Cookies was based out of Oakland. And speaking of Oakland, there we go, Oakland, Cameron, with the Oakland Oaks there and that cool design. So that's cool. This one beat up, hole punched, and that was like Staley or something from San Francisco. Then you got Wit, I think, from Vernon. Go back and watch the video or talk about Vernon, a little town just outside of LA. When LA was a dry county or city, you can go to Vernon and drink, even though there was only like 500 people living there. They had a baseball team there because you can go drink at the stadium there. And then they've made multiple moves, and I think the guy who owned Vernon was the owner of the Detroit Tigers. Here's my most punched out card, Jay Ryan. So what is that, Jack Ryan? Just kidding. So there's Portland there. We've seen a professional baseball game in Portland when we visited 2016, the Portland Pickles Independent League. And I can't tell his name, but he's from LA. And that's pretty sweet. But that one's really beat up on the back. That's a beautiful card. Just that deep, rich red for Victoria, and that is Northwest League, so that's out of Canada, I believe. Unless that's Victoria, Washington, I don't know. But still, just sweet, beautiful card. And that is the 1911. Because they've changed the design now to that Ohio kind of look. You know, round on both ends and high in the middle, out back, or whatever. Jeez. Alright, so householder. Even though it's only got the 1909 stats, these came out in 1911. Or so. Maybe they printed them before they finished the season in 1910, or already started that process. Just beautiful cards, and this is the same company that did T206, people, because they were basically a monopoly in the tobacco market. Murphy for LA. Alright, so we went back again. These are a little out of order. That's okay. And to end off my Obaks, another LA, so Abbott. Los Angeles, kind of cool uniform there. Very similar orange in there to my original T206. Basically the same company did this, it just printed on different sides of the country. Alright, so that's it for those ones, but that's not it, because we got that T202 1912 triple folder of my cubbies, so some more cubbies, and that would be Chance beats out a hit, so here Hassan Cigarettes, McIntyre and Archer for my cubbies. It's graded to 2.5 with the beautiful Hassan back. These were folded up into bigger tobacco products at the time. The Hassan, I think a fancier package is what those came from. And then we'll go into the 30s, where I recently picked up those. Some of these are from my Trains, Planes, and Automobile contest. But first there's the biking player cigarettes cards from the, I think these are like 1938 or something like that, or I'm not 100% sure, I'd have to look it up again, but I believe that's what it's from. Branch of the Imperial Tobacco Company, Great Britain and Ireland, so I think that's the same people that did these Ogden's cards. So let's take a look here. Now the British have been doing these tobacco cards for a long time. Yep, so both of them the Imperial Tobacco cards, but they changed the name apparently. And this is cycling, so I got this one. These were like $1 a piece at an antique shop about a month ago, and interesting story, but you can go back and watch that video to get a little more information on these. Then you got this one here, Sawyer's Velocipede. So very thin stock, but still nice shape. John Player and Sons. And I did show that Players and Son Navy tobacco box, so maybe I'll get up and go grab that here in a minute, and we'll wrap this video up. So the post office dudes riding around on those big wheel bikes. Now these are all English, so this is what they were doing in England at the time. And then Pee Wee Herman bike, so they call that the American bicycle. That's pretty sweet. And then once again with these trains, so that's Will's cigarettes. It's still the Imperial Tobacco Company, so just another one of their brands, Will cigarettes. All right, cards stick together a little bit, and then the Will cigarettes, North British section. Allen E Railway. Great. Well, you can read that. Beautiful trains there. Allen E Railway, different image. And then this is like a subway car, like the first electric, where it didn't have like a, didn't have a proper engine. It was running on electricity, I believe, there. And that is the Metropolitan District Railways electric train. So much like the BART here, or the Allen Chicago, subway in New York, or whatever. So let me pause you for a second. All right, folks, thanks. So like these bicycle cards from Players Cigarettes, John Player and Sons, would have come in. Now this is later, but like these Navy Tobacco, but it's John Player and Sons from England, and so I'm not saying it came in this exact cigarette brand, but it's Players and Son. And cards, you would have got cards in a pack. So that's kind of cool. So give you a quick look at that. Cool little box, empty. Made in Pakistan. So that's cool. And let's wrap it up, people, with the Arm & Hammer. So if you bought Arm & Hammer or Church and Dwight, you could have got the Useful Birds of America, and these are from the 1930s as well. These came in boxes of Arm & Hammer and whatever the other brand was at the time. And these Birds of America. So horn-breasted grosbeak. Alright, stuck together a little bit, folks, sorry about this. And I got two of these Donny Woodpeckers. And they do have some of these have a little bit different backs. So Arm & Hammer and Cow brand baking soda, as you can see there. So this one says that there, but it doesn't say the same exact. It's a little bit different font, or a little bit different on the advertising there. Got some beautiful art. Bigger cards, of course. Then your standard tobacco mini there. Eastern Kingbird. There's the person who did the art. For the good of all, do not destroy the birds. Alright. White-breasted nuthatch. So pretty sweet. So these are Oddball. Hey, buy some baking soda and get some cards if you're a fan of birds. And that is the 10th series, 2 nonetheless. That's the cedar waxing. So there you go. Well, there it is, folks. There are my oddballs from the pre-war and just kind of post-war, right in the 50s, other than those Wheaties from the 90s. All this stuff is from ranging from 1887 into the 1930s, 1952, and 96 and 97. So hey folks, thanks for joining me on Old Style Classics, baseball cards and other kind of cards and all that stuff. Just super cool stuff. Thank you for joining me. Sorry about the long video, but it needed to be done. Alright, hey y'all, take care. Have a fun and safe time at the National for all you guys going. Roy, reach out to me. And thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. See you.